Hello dear students, today let us learn History Chapter 1 Sources. In this chapter you learn sources required to the study of history, types of the sources of history, importance of the archaeological sources, importance of the inscriptions and importance of the oral sources in history. What is history? History is a systematic study of the past. History is a systematic study of the past events. The events which took place in the past are studied systematically in history. Children, what do the person who composes a poem is called? He is called a poet. In the same way, the person who writes history is called a historian. Do you know how do the historians write history? History is written on the basis of sources. Historians collect the sources, subject them to critical examination, analysis and then write the history. Whenever direct sources are not available, they need to make assumptions based on the available sources. The things used by human beings in the past, the agricultural tools left by earlier people, forts, coins, inscriptions, arms, temples and religious buildings are considered as sources to write history. Similarly, the written documents and literary works are the main sources of history. The materials needed for the writing of history are called sources. So children, what are sources? The materials needed for the writing of history are called sources. The sources are mainly divided into two types. They are literary sources and archaeological sources. Which are the two types of sources? Literary sources and archaeological sources. Literary sources are once again divided into two groups. They are written literature and oral literature. Written literature is once again divided into two groups. They are native literature and foreign literature. So, the sources are mainly divided into literary sources and archaeological sources. The literary sources are once again divided into written literature and oral literature. Written literature. This written literature is once again divided into native literature and foreign literature. Native literature. The literature created by Indians in Indian languages is called native literature. Many Indians have written some literary works or written documents in Indian languages. These literary works are called native literature. For example, Kautilya's Arthashastra, Vishakadatta's Mudra Rakshasa, Banabhatta's Harsha Charita, Pampa's Vikramarjuna Vijaya, etc. Foreign literature. Many foreigners who visited India as travelers, ambassadors, businessmen, officials and missionaries have recorded their observations and experiences in their works. These works are called as foreign literature. Children, now what is the difference between native literature and foreign literature? Native literature is the literature written by Indians in their own languages. What is foreign literature? Many foreigners visited India as travelers, ambassadors, businessmen, officials and missionaries, and they have recorded their observations and experiences in their works. These works are called as foreign literature. For example, Megasthenes Indica, Huyen-Tsang's Siyuki and Fahian's Gokoki and others. Oral literature. Oral literature means the folk story, folk songs, folk legends, ballads and others that pass on from one person to another by word of mouth. So many folk stories, folk songs, folk legends have passed from one generation to another by word of mouth and these are called oral literature. The folk people have created many ballads about their local heroes. What are ballads? Ballads means songs in short stanzas praising their heroes. Archaeological sources. Archaeological sources are divided into four types. They are inscriptions, coins, monuments and other ruins. Archaeological sources are available not only on the surface of the earth but also hidden deep in the depths of the earth. The hidden things in the earth are dug out by using scientific methods, and this process is called excavation. During excavation means while digging the land, ruins of buildings, inscriptions, coins, terracotta pieces, bangles, seals, beads, bone pieces, metal and others have been found. These are analyzed by applying various scientific methods to understand the life of people of those times. Now let us learn the 4 types of archaeological sources one by one. First one is inscriptions. Inscriptions means engraved writing. Writing engraved on stone, rock, metal, ivory, etc. that last longer is called inscription. Inscriptions are more reliable as these have a direct relationship with then events. Inscriptions of Ashoka. Ashoka's inscriptions are the earliest inscriptions found in India. Most of them are in Brahmi script. Ashoka's inscriptions are in Brahmi script and they are in Prakrit language. Thousands of inscriptions are found in different languages like Kannada, Telugu, Tamil, Sanskrit, Prakrit, etc. Coins. Coins are helpful in understanding the geographical extent of the ruler's kingdom who minted the coins. They aid us in knowing the language of administration, titles that the king possessed, their economic conditions, etc. Here you can observe the coins of Samudragupta. Samudragupta had minted 7 different types of gold coins. Based on the pictures on those coins, it is said that Samudragupta was a lover of music and he had conducted Ashwamedha Yaga too. In this coin, you can see Samudragupta playing a musical instrument, that is Veena. So that we can come to the conclusion that Samudragupta was a lover of music. Not only that, many Roman coins are found in Bengaluru. This proves the fact that this region had trade link with Romans 2000 years back. Monuments. Monuments are the major sources to write history. Palaces, temples, forts and pillars, etc. are considered as monuments. Some of the important monuments are Mehrauli Iron Pillar. It is in Delhi near Qutub Minar. It is 23 feet and 8 inches in height and weighs 6000 kg. It is installed during the time of the Guptas, but it has not become rusty till now. That shows in those days Indians had a sound iron technology. Vijayapura's Gol Gumbaz. It is the first largest dome in India. Shah Jahan's Taj Mahal. It is considered as one of the 7 wonders of the world. It attracts a large number of tourists. The temples of Aihole and Pattadkal explain the evolution of Indian temple architecture. The fort of Srirangapatna. The fort of Srirangapatna explains the accomplishment in the areas of defense technology. Thus, the monuments throw light on then contemporary religious aspects, technology, economic growth, scientific knowledge and creativity achieved. Based on the various pieces of terracotta, bangles, beads and seal procured during the examination, one can understand the socio-economic, political and religious life of then people. Not only this, one can also understand the food habits and pattern of business of those times. By applying carbon-14 dating procedure on biological ruins like dead animals, birds and trees found in sites, one can arrive at the accurate period of the ruins. Carbon-14 is a radioactive carbon. Fossils which are 10,000 years old can also be identified by using this carbon dating method. In the excavations conducted in Tamil Nadu, a large number of evidences were found. They speak of commercial contact between South India and Romans. Like this, the remains found at excavations tell many things that were lost over a period of time. Thank you.